Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapisa Siwidi. In our first story, Deputy Education Minister Reverend John Ntimfojo says the head teacher in the center of the drowning of 9 students of the St. Charles Lwanga RC Junior High School at the Saboba district of the Northern Region has been interdicted. Now, he said a committee has also been set up to investigate the incident. Reverend Ntimfojo made this pronouncement on Monday at Saboba when he led a delegation to meet families of the deceased to commiserate with them.
We have paid a visit to the families of the 9 gentlemen who lost their lives in the Saboba incident. We have commiserated with them, we have ascertained the situation, and the police is assisting in investigation, and the process is taking its course. Never again must lives be lost. And the practice of teachers and some heads of schools using students as labor to carry out tasks that are unauthorized must be a thing of the past. It's archaic, it's outmoded, it's an affront to the code of conduct of the Ghana Education Service. Therefore, the necessary disciplinary actions have been initiated. Well, at the same time, the legal processes have also been commenced against the gentleman, the headmaster who offended. But as a signal to all our teachers and all our heads of schools across the length and breadth of the country, we cannot pretend to say that this incident is isolated at Saboba. Unfortunately, lives have been lost at Saboba, and that has heightened a lot of interest. But we are signaling that the practice of using children that have been sent to school to be taught, to be trained as labor for private and personal exploitation and to be carrying out tasks that are unauthorized are all offensive under the code of conduct of the Ghana Education Service, and this practice must be rooted out.
What disciplinary action has been taken against the headmaster?
Immediately that the matter came to the attention of GS, the headmaster has been put on interdiction pending further disciplinary action. On the other side, the police have also arrested the headmaster and have since put him before court. The court has remanded him for 2 weeks pending further investigation. So the law is taking its course and disciplinary processes on GS side is also underway.
Speaker of Parliament says Ghana's Parliament remains the weakest link in the governance structure of the country, 28 years after the adoption of constitutional rule. Now, Alban Bagwan says the House has only existed to strengthen the executive arm of government to the detriment of the legislator. Now, he viewed these while addressing a Speaker's breakfast meeting at the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi.
The Speaker's Breakfast Forum targeted representatives of state institutions and the general public in the Ashanti region. The forum is to deepen parliamentary democracy by opening up the legislative house to the citizenry. Main Speaker Alban Bagban revealed, for instance, he inherited no staff and handed over notes when he assumed office in January this year as the elected Speaker. He described the situation as unacceptable, warning it could undermine the independence of the legislature.
In fact, when I took over as a Speaker, in spite of my 20 years in the leadership of Parliament, I did not get the real picture of the weakness of our Parliament until I became Speaker. There's so much void that for all these 28 years, the focus of Parliament itself was to always working to strengthen the executive arm and not Parliament itself. And we passed so many laws that we even forgot to include Parliament in those laws, including the Public Procurement Act. Go and look at the terms, the offices that are used in that act, whether Parliament is factored into it. And whilst we're even talking about Presidential Transition Act, we didn't talk about Parliamentary Transition Act. So they elect you as a Speaker, and you enter into an open, empty office. No handing over notes, no staff. And that is how you start. And so as you work along, then I realized that the technical components of an institution are completely absent in the Parliament of Ghana.
The Speaker noted there are plans to legislate on the nature, scope and sanctions of the subject of contempt of Parliament. It comes in the wake of an impasse of the police attempt to arrest the Member of Parliament for Madina, Francis Susu.
You are all aware a number of MPs are before courts being prosecuted. And so there's nobody saying that the Member of Parliament is above the law. But in this particular instance of the Member of Parliament for Madina, I can put my neck for it.
There's a push for a review of the ECOWAS protocols to apply stiffer sanctions on heads of state who breach their constitution to compel them to fully comply with democratic tenets. Now, the call by a former UN representative of the Secretary General for West Africa, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, seeks to cure the recent wave of military takeovers across the sub-region. He's warning of dire consequences on the security and political stability of the sub-region if the situation is not checked. He's been speaking at a consultative meeting to review the state of democracy and governance in the ECOWAS region.
The situation in the sub-region is surprisingly worse as it deteriorated faster compared to the rest of the African country. West Africa has been marked recently by processes leading to manipulation of constitutions to extend term limits, instrumentalization of justice, electoral systems that hamper participation of political or potential candidates and voters as well, electoral management bodies not sufficiently independent, excessive abuse of incumbency, state capture, and monetization of politics. The actions and actions of political leaders in particular appear to accentuate this trend by creating the necessary conditions that contribute to the decline in democratic tenets. This situation, if not checked quickly, could lead to a state of disillusionment by the population, which, with its dire consequences on the security and stability of our sub-region. It is gratifying, therefore, that in 2012, the heads of states of ECOWAS passed a supplementary act to increase the sanctioning regimes against member states who fail to honor their obligations. Member states are obliged to observe and implement the community treaties, conventions, protocols, and decisions as referred to earlier in this address, which are deemed mandatory.
Staff of the National Lottery Authority say some major challenges faced by authority, including the non-availability of payrolls and the non-payments of big wins, have been addressed by the new Director General, Samuel Ouku. According to the workers, interventions made by Mr. Ouku have repositioned the authority on a positive trajectory. NLA staff have in the past protested over unfair working conditions, delayed promotions, unpaid allowances, amongst others. Assessing the 100 days of Samuel Ouku in office as the Director General of the NLA, the staff say they are re-energized and motivated to give off their best to the authority. There's more in this report.
That's the Director General of the National Lottery Authority, Samuel Ouku, during the observation of the Customer Service Week. Samuel Ouku, since his appointment in office some 100 days ago, has brought renewed dynamism and vigor to the lotto operating business. According to the staff, the first 100 days has been a period of fulfilled promises. That's not all. They also observed that their colleague workers who hitherto were always absent without notification or not at post during reporting time now make it a point to always be at post. The local union chairman, Eric Tamaklo, in assessing the first 100 days of Mr. Ouku in office, observed that some major challenges faced by the authority has been addressed, including the non-availability of paper rolls.
When we were calling for the removal of the former director, Mr. Oseya Meyao, and I also recall that we make a call on the president at the time to give us a director who is listening. And I think that he has done that. The president has listened to our call to give us somebody who is listening. We are so lucky to have Mr. Samuel Awuku as our director. On the paper roll issue, I think that issue has been dealt with. We no longer have an issue with shortage of paper roll now. It has been dealt with. And with the wins, I think we still have some of the wins outstanding, even though he has made some giant strides in making some funds available for the wins to be paid.
Acting head of Human Resource Department, Sheila Atiemu, says the delay in promotion of workers have been resolved, boosting staff morale.
Staff morale was a bit low, or let me say very low, from previous years, but with the coming in of Mr. Awuku, a lot has changed. Now, staff morale is very high. And what is more interesting is for the fact that he was able to champion and authorize or approve this public service document for the general promotions of staff. And so generally, they feel, yes, this is somebody who is here to listen to them, who is here to be part of them, and not just being a leader or a director general who would distance himself from his staff.
On her part, Dr. Snote, who is the acting head of the customer service, is excited about the prospect of the authority.
And to our external customers, I wish I had a few of them here for you to interview them so that you can actually see the difference between how it was and how it is now since my boss came in. So we've had a few engagements with some of them, and response rates to customer complaints, though amidst the challenges that we have as an authority, response rate has been, splendid.
Acting Director of Sales and Marketing at NLA, Kwabena Opoku-Boakye, says the measures put in place by the new leadership will maximize revenue generation.
There were issues before he came. We had issues around payment of wins because there was a huge backlog. Then the illegal lottery operators, they were doing things in full swing. But I think about a month ago, we put out an ad to regularize those who were doing the illegal lottery activities. And I think as I speak to you now, we have about 37 who have picked up forms. About 11 or 12 of them have paid up, and they are ready to work. So it's more about taxing for a takeoff, because look, this industry is a very, very difficult industry to operate in, but he has the goodwill because he's, like I say, he's pressing the right buttons, and revenue has not declined. We have stabilized because it was declining. I would say he's succeeded in arresting the decline, and we are going to put ourselves back on a growth trajectory when I'm sure by Q1 2022, all of us will start seeing the manifestation of some of the strategies that he's trying to put in place.
Several of the workers who interacted with Joy News say the positive trajectory should continue unabated. For Joy News, I am Chrissy Bakwesa.
St. Thomas Aquinas is on an early exit from the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz after suffering a humiliating defeat at the hands of St. Augustine's College in what was the most anticipated contest of day one of that 1/8 round. Now, at the end of 5 competitive rounds, Augusta's 64 points were miles away from the reach of the Toms, who managed 41 points. Having been kicked out by Accra Academy last year, the
So I'm here with the boys themselves, the ones who have beaten the Toms. Congratulations, guys. How does it feel? I mean, there was a lot of expectation ahead of this contest. Were you expecting this match? 64 points.
Well, to be honest, we left the entire contest to God, and then we asked him to lead us where we go. So then it's to him that we give the glory.
What was the secret behind your performance on stage?
Before coming into this contest, we knew the amount of preparation we had done, and we knew who we were coming with. We were coming with God, and we knew we were going to be victors in the contest.
I see. It seemed to have been a very, easy contest for you right from round one. Were the questions that easy?
No, I think it's because we maintained our composure, and then this helped us.
Now you're moving into the quarterfinals. I mean, it's getting more difficult in the quarterfinals. I mean, what should we expect from you? What should we expect from you in the quarterfinals?
Well, we know who we came here with. He's going to be with us from 1/8 through to quarterfinals, through to semi-finals, until we get hold of the trophy and bring it back to St. Augustine's College.
So you're garnering for the trophy itself?
Yes.
I see. Who do you think is going to be a real threat to you in that journey?
With God on our side, we see no one as a threat in our way. Anyone we meet, we are going to demolish.
What's your message to the St. Thomas Aquinas boys who came and they thought that they were able to beat you today?
Well, we wish them all the best in their endeavors, and then we thank them for an exciting contest.
Okay.
They were a good competition. They weren't a small school, but then at the end of the day, only one school had to win, and of course, it had to be us. So we tell them to hope for the best. They should go and prepare and come win next year.
You may most probably meet Pesco in the semi-finals. That's going to be difficult, no?
Yeah, honestly, it's going to be difficult, but then we know we'll pull through. We came with God. We are mentioning God because we know what He can do.
Thank you. So these are the guys from St. Augustine's College.
I told you 2 hours.
Oh, you told me 2 hours.
I told you 2 hours.
Okay.
All right.
What was the secret?
Shots fired. I remember last year, it was an Accra school that eliminated St. Augustine's College. This year, watch out for us. All the Accra schools, we are picking it here, St. Chrome. So that is Augusto for you, one day at a time.
What was the secret? You seem too certain that you are going to win.
We were actually prepared for them this year because last year we underestimated Accra Academy and they pulled a surprise on us. So this year we are prepared for any school. We will not underrate any school. So watch out for St. Augustine's College. Absu Ashanti, we are hosting them and we are hosting to win.
Absu
Ashanti.
Absu.
Action.
Absu.
Action.
Let's have a short conversation, right? Absu, action, Absu, action, Absu, action, Tell me, and they say you most likely, if you are able to win your quarterfinal contest, you most likely go and meet Pesco. That might be a difficult contest.
They are very simple. This one there's no big deal in this one. They are already the winning team, so we are just waiting just to win.
Now, one contest is down. Yeah. The next contest, what should we expect from you?
Oh, the best. Also the best from us. Also the best from us.
Remember, the National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by the Prime Time Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with APSA Ghana. The broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, our milk high in protein and vitamins. Papa's Pizza, taste it, love it. Tampico, simply irresistible. DBS Industries Limited, we truly are your roof experts. Kings Group Limited, set a standard. You listen, love learning. Ace Medical Insurance, the new face of health financing. Dole Yogurt, more, I need more, and Smart Up. And that's how we end the AM News with me, Mapisa CBD. The AM show continues with Nimua and Israel.